Good.
How you doing, Ian?
Good.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
So how you been since the last interview?
I've been doing good. Doing good. A lot of schoolwork, but
Chilling.
just chilling.
Lacrosse is starting up soon.
Yeah, we got box lacrosse, which is just indoor lacrosse. It's just a different kind of lacrosse. A little smaller field, but just a good thing to do in our off
So you
season.
got a haircut.
Yeah, haircut.
Since the last interview, you looking fresh.
Thank you, most
No
definitely.
problem. No problem. So let's talk. So let's just start about how's school going? How's your family?
School. I'm doing pretty good so far. Starting the year off pretty right, on a good foot, sitting at about a 3.6.
Okay.
High honors. I mean, that's about it for school, really.
Sophomore now, right?
Sophomore.
So have you been looking at colleges? Interest? I know it's a little soon in the process, but
I have been a little bit. I think I want to go into business. I've been taking some business classes, accounting class, intro to business. But where I want to go to school, I mean, Kelly at Indiana would be great. But I mean, staying home is really no problem for me.
got you. So PFW wouldn't be a problem if you decided.
PFW, St. Francis, wherever.
Good. All right, so let's get started. So I printed out a few pictures, just about relationships, relationship goals, relationships in the past, just a bunch of pictures. So I want you to just look through that for a second, and pick about 3 or 4. It doesn't matter, whichever you're comfortable with, 3 or 4, and so we can talk about those relationships as they pertain to you. So I'll give you a few minutes or a few seconds to pick out what you want.
I'm thinking church. Church would be a good one to talk about.
Okay.
Top of that, I think school. School's always important. Let's throw that one in. And for this last one, let's talk about let's go with one of my relationships with my parents and my family.
All right, so let's just start out with school. It says Hickory Center Elementary School here, so we'll just start out with that since it's probably the farthest thing from you now since you're in high school.
Yep.
So Hickory Center, I know you go to Carroll High School now, so Hickory Center's down the street. So how did you like it?
Hickory Center, I feel like that was a great building blocks into my future schooling. Learned a lot of good things there. Had great teachers all the time. It was always good energy going to school, and it really got me to not be one of those kids that dreaded school. It really got me going, and it gave me something to look forward to.
So you like the environment?
Yeah,
for
sure.
So let's just talk about the school a little more. Teachers, you went there from what, kindergarten? You started
kindergarten to 5th grade.
So is there a memorable moment or teacher or teaching moment that you had in there that just stuck with you?
A couple teachers that stick out. First off, Mr. Lance.
Okay.
I remember he still is a baseball coach, and at the time I played baseball a lot. He always, every time I walked into school, we'd talk a little bit about baseball, just those little conversations
Little
in the morning.
icebreakers.
Yep.
Okay.
When I walked into school, it was always nice seeing him because you knew he was always going to talk about something. And, although I didn't have him for class before, whenever I could talk to him, he really always made an effort to come see me, and I really liked that. And another person is Mr. Bodenstein. He's my gym teacher. And also in elementary school, I ran cross country, and he was my cross country coach. And I just feel like he was always outgoing, and he was always the first one to, come talk to you if you were scared to start a conversation. And he always would lead you in the right path, get you talking with people, and just a great guy overall.
So let's go a little farther in the school. I know you live in the Carroll district, and Hickory Center's, it leads into Carroll. So let's talk a little bit about middle school. So I know that you went to Hickory Center. Did a lot of your friends from Hickory Center go to, what middle school did you go to?
Carroll.
So did they go to Carroll Middle School as well?
Yeah, a lot of my friends, all of them, Hickory Center does feed into Carroll Middle School, so all those friends that were there, other than a few friends that moved. I mean, coming out of Hickory Center, I had about 3 main buddies, us 4, me, Keenan, Chandler, and Dubai. I mean, and today we're still closer than ever. And I mean, they all went to Carroll Middle School, and we're all still strong today. So I feel like that Hickory Center building ground really worked on us.
So do you think that, school and the environment brought you guys together? Did you guys know each other before? Did your parents know each other?
I can say for sure, my best friend Jane Duba, he lives right down the road, so I know he was always there, but I mean, I guess he always stuck with me during the elementary school. With me and him, it was real easy. It would have been hard for me to go talk to someone, but if I knew he was with me, I knew we could both, go talk to someone. And Keenan, he moved here in third grade, and our teacher also lives down the street from us. So basically me, Keenan Duba, and my third grade teacher, we all had the same class, and it was her class. And she really just encouraged us to, go out and play with each other because, I mean, she could see us out her back door.
See the friendship.
Yeah. So she always wanted us to be strong, and she knew that we had this chemistry, and really that's just what I...
So now you're in high school, those friends came along with you, and they're still that
Yep.
close-knit friendship that you guys have along with those three?
Yeah, but one of my friends, Keenan, like I was just talking about, he moved to Busco, which from here is like a 20-minute drive. But, my family, all my older relatives and my whole dad's side of the family, we all grew up in Busco. So it's really still like a close part to us. So it's really not hard to go see him. So, and on the weekends, we still always make time to go see each other. So I feel as if that moving was not something that took away from us, but we just realized how much we need to value what we have.
So, if I'm right, you guys do have a family restaurant in Churubusco, correct?
Yep. Brevins.
Brevins, that's correct.
Yeah, that's a great business. I mean, I get to meet a lot of new people, and especially being a family business, it allows me the chance to get an easy job. It lets me get out there, learn to see what the real life is really like. I mean, it's hard for some kids to get out in that scene, but for me, those people are very welcoming, and of course, knowing that my dad owns it and all my sisters and their friends, and they all grew up in it. I mean, it's really easy, just fit right in.
So when you do go to Churubusco, do you make time to see, what was his name that you said moved out?
Keenan.
Do you make time to go see Keenan? Is that a priority, or
do
you guys meet up, stuff like that when you're headed out that way?
Oh yeah. I used to have a constant shift on Sunday morning. I'd work Sunday morning breakfast. And I mean, every Saturday night I just stay at Keenan's house. It's real easy to get from Keenan's house to work, so
real easy.
I mean, it's perfect to go see him on the Saturday night, hang out with a few more buddies, and get to work in the morning. So that was always real efficient for us.
So let's dive back into the high school realm of things. So high school, how do you like that with the friends and transition? Does your friend group stay together, and do your three friends have the same amount of friends outside of that group? Do you guys get along and hang out outside of school in that sort of thing?
I'd say out of school we still see each other the exact same. It's perfect, but in school there's so much opportunity at Kittle. It's hard for us to see each other all the time. I mean, I have lunch with them on a few days a week, but I mean, I have one class with Duba and Jaden, and Chandler. I don't have a single class with him, so I rarely see him in the hallways. But I mean, that doesn't break us out of school. We still talk all the time. But I feel as if high school it's a lot more freedom. It gives you a lot more exposure, and I think we're all getting new friend groups, and we're bringing those together. So at this point, it's not just us four anymore. It's really just this big, ball of people.
That's good. So, you're a sophomore, so you still have 2 years of school. And a lot of things do change in that 2-year period. That's not saying that your friends aren't going to be your friends, but I'm just saying, you'll have a lot more friends, you'll have a lot more experiences.
Right.
But you're only a sophomore; it's the first semester still.
Exactly.
So let's get into something that you've been in a little bit longer. Let's talk about church. How do you feel your relationship, your relationships in church are, along with your relationship with God, just relationships in general in church? How would you describe that?
So growing up in church, it really wasn't a chore for me. I really, my parents really always pushed me to do it, but they knew that it wasn't forced upon me. I mean, where I go to church, you had it was first grades, you were separated into grades. You talked with kids that were in your grade. So in second grade, you talked to second graders. It was all fun activities, but you were also, learning things. And I have friends that I met in there that I'm still friends with, like Sammy Schlotterback. We're still buddies, and now that he went to a different elementary school, he went to the rivalry middle school, Maple Creek.
Okay.
And now we're friends in Kittle High School just because from that church bond. And then Project 5, I feel like that was a good opportunity to see really what I wanted my future to look like, because in Project 5, I met kids similar to your age. They were leading our small groups, and they were just the way that they took time out of their Sundays, and being that young, they would still come and, you know, spend time with us every Sunday. And then, you know, middle school came around, opportunities came around, and it's kind of where we are now.
So, what church is this?
Pathway.
Pathway, right? The big church right down the street.
Right.
So, how do you like the church overall?
I think the church overall is a great atmosphere. You know, I feel I've been to other churches, and it's not like I've just been to Pathway. I've not tried other churches, but, you know, down the road, obviously, I've been to other.
And
just
special
for
Sunday, special speaker, stuff like that.
Yep. So I feel as if it's perfect for Pathway. Like their messages are very uplifting, and their music is, you know, up to beat. But I feel it's hard for sometimes for me to understand what people are saying in other churches. You know, with just really, it's just all really opinion based. But like the music, I like, you know, singing very loudly, and I feel like some of the other music that, you know, you hear at other churches are also great music. I'm not saying anything. I just like, you know, the drums, the guitar,
of Pathway.
Yeah.
Good,
And that's a good way for me to, you know, see God, you know.
So do you, I know that Pathway is a big church. Do you connect with a lot of people in your church? I know that you said you have your what is it, what, 5?
Project 5.
Project 5, and you have your Project 5. How do you connect with people aside from your youth group and, you know, Project 5? I know you have youth group tonight, you mentioned.
Yep.
How do you connect with people in the church that aren't in those groups? Do you connect with them? Do you connect with adults in the church? You know, how do you like the pastor? Do you connect with him?
Okay.
How is that?
Obviously, with the church that big, it's hard, you know, talk to the pastor all the time. Obviously, he probably knows the Riki name, and he probably knows my family, but I don't think I've ever sat down and just talked to him for quite a while. But I have the other mentors or men, in like the high school realm that can spend time with you. Like, obviously you wouldn't know him, but, you know, I know a dude named Brad Bullock, and he is a youth pastor, and he's still, you know, hierarchy, but he will spend time with you, and he'll just listen, and
So he's kind of towards the younger generation, and is he the youth pastor there?
So what I'm going to tonight is called Impact, and he is the youth pastor there, him and Savannah Bly.
Okay.
But Savannah Bly, you know, she kind of works with, they take turns speaking each week.
So it's like every other week?
Yep.
Okay.
So, but, you know, Brad, I just feel like I went on a summer camp in West Virginia for church, and he was my small group leader. I roomed with him for 7 days, no technology, and it was a good chance for me to really
get to know each other, get closer to God, stuff like that. That's good. And that's good in the church that, you know, like you said, a church that size, making sure that they have smaller groups, you know, for the individualized age groups. You know, other people, like, let's say your parents.
Right.
You know, your parents are, I don't know, maybe 50s, 40s.
Yeah.
They learn at a different pace than you. They're much wiser. They're much older. So they had that experience, like you said. You know, sometimes it's confusing to comprehend the information.
Right.
And that's just because you haven't been alive as long as them. So that's good that you have that connection, and you started going at a young age, so you know the foundation that's there. You know the principles. So yeah, I mean, I say that you know that's a good foundation to have, and I'm glad that you are going tonight. You know, to get the understanding that you don't get on a Sunday morning or a Saturday afternoon.
Right.
So that's good. That's a good relationship to have. You know, your relationship with God, your relationship with people in the church. Let's dive a little deeper, and let's talk about, you know, your family. I know it's a picture of a little kid with a balloon and his mom. But let's dive a little bit deeper than that. You know, let's talk about your parents, and you know, I think you have 2 sisters, correct?
Yeah, 2 sisters.
So 2 sisters. Let's just talk about them from when you were little. You know, support groups, and you know they're your foundation, your mom and dad. So just talk about them, and just a little more insight on what they do and how they do it for you, and how they show the love and relationship that you have, why you have that relationship.
Yeah. So both my sisters are older than me by a good, let's just say 4 years, 5 years. So they have a good age on me, and basically growing up, my parents always had time for me, but you know, my sisters always loved to help out. They loved, you know, holding me and feeding me and, you know, playing with me. They always thought I was the next big thing. They thought I was awesome, but really just growing up with them, it really gave me another perspective. You know, they weren't a big brother. They didn't rough me up. They didn't make me tougher, but they did things bigger than that.
A different perspective.
Yeah, they changed my personality for the better. They taught me what it's really like. You know, they gave me advice. They let me hang out with their friends. They let me, do all these things that, the little kid would dream. They always want to be friends with, the older sister's boyfriend, or, I always wanted to, fit in and talk to those kids. And when they would always give me that opportunity, or, they'd play a game with me, it would mean so much.
Mm-hmm. That's good. I know that you're involved in sports, and you have been. You've played baseball. I know you play lacrosse currently.
Mm-hmm.
Have you played any other sports?
I wrestled in 8th grade.
Okay.
I played soccer at a young age, and really just those 4.
So, you said that they were a big support group. So let's just start with, what did you play first?
I'd say I probably played baseball first.
Baseball. So how did your family support you, knowing that you had older sisters? Were they always there? Were they involved? Talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, my dad, he would always spend as much time as he would, or as much time as he could, throwing the ball with me. And my oldest sister, Lydia, she played softball, so, it was always good having that sister that, was familiar with the sport, and they weren't just, just like they weren't like too girly to like play sports.
Mm-hmm.
They would play with me, and my dad always just pushed me to, be better, but he knew that I knew that whatever I did, he knew that, whatever I did, I knew that he was going to support it,
Mm-hmm.
whether I, stopped playing, whether I had a bad game, I knew he would tell me what I did wrong.
But spirit, no matter the circumstances.
Yeah.
So how are your sisters? You said Lydia played softball. So how was Audrey? Was she around and helping and supporting as well?
Yeah, Audrey was also up and supporting. She would, I guess, one prime example of us really, getting out and exercising. Well, Audrey, she danced, which I didn't dance, Lydia didn't dance, but she was really good at it. She loved it. She stayed in her lane. She tried to play softball with us when she could. She loved playing it for fun, and we loved dancing for fun. But I know we would just play games outside, We'd get around with all the, sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
I knew that playing with the neighborhood kids, we'd play this big game called German Spotlight. We'd all come out, and me and my sisters and all the neighborhood kids would just have fun and just get out and socialize.
Good. I know this doesn't pertain to you, but recently, I was at a meeting at St. Francis, and there was a survey about mental wellness, and just to tie all this together, there was it's called Remedy Live. Okay, so it was all these statistics on people that have thought about committing suicide, and just bringing awareness of that subject.
Right.
And surprisingly, it was an interactive meeting, kind of it was interactive with everybody that was there. Everybody was on their phone. They were connected to the screen, the app.
Yep, and
Yeah, so you would just type whatever your answer was. It wasn't like Kahoot like we play in high school. It was like you text the number 494949 to whatever the answer was on the screen, or the question was on the screen. And it's surprising how it's sad how people don't grow up with a support system that you have.
Right.
There's people, I say there was maybe 150, maybe 200 kids with me in that group, and 22% of them had thought about, taking their lives.
Right.
I'm not saying that you have,
right.
We're not getting into that.
Right.
But for you to have that support group, for you to, have that system of hope and that system of, encouragement is very important, especially the way you grew up in, from your elementary school all the way to high school, that that same foundation from elementary school, middle school, high school, and how it transitioned into church, and how your family was alongside you with with everything.
Right.
And so there was a bunch of options on the screen. I think it was A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. So there was a bunch of options. As people in their family that have had illnesses, mental illness, or people that have wanted to take their life, or they know people that are going to take their life. And I vividly remember K was an option.
Yeah.
And there was only 4% of those people in that group of 200 that selected K as having no problems, having a strong foundation, having that good support group, having those people that they could talk to, those facilitators. You could talk to me whenever you want, but the fact that you had that foundation, your parents, and your 2 older sisters.
Right.
You know, that's very important, and not everybody can say that they have that.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, relationships, I know we've been talking about it for about 4 weeks, I'd say.
Yeah.
From our first interview to this one now. I know that we've been talking about relationships, and, you know, it's good that you want to build on your relationships, because, you know, it's a great thing to do. You can always build, you can always be better at, you know, whatever you're doing. Say you
Right.
play lacrosse, you can always get that much better at lacrosse. You can always build on your relationships.
Right.
And that's very important. And you know, you have a good foundation, like I've said. So, you know, sometimes it's not always about making your relationship with other people better.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's about reaching out to those people that don't have the
Right.
foundation that you have.
Right.
Okay, so I've made some SMART goals. Just, you know, wrapping up, you know, since this is our last interview, essentially. Right. I mean, I'm sure we'll probably meet again,
Mm-hmm.
you know, just, you know, go get some coffee or something. But after these 4 interviews, I've made some SMART goals for you. Not telling you what to do, and respectfully, if I can share with you, that would
Oh, of course. Yeah.
I'd appreciate it. You know, I've came up with 4. Just to keep you on the right track. Not that you're not on it, but like I said, you can facilitate and help those that are in need of help.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I said, the option was K for people that have no issues at home,
Yeah.
have not been physically or mentally or emotionally abused.
Right.
So like I said, I've come up with a few goals, and I'd say number 1 is keeping friends close no matter the distance. And you know, you do a pretty good job with that.
Yeah.
But that also leads me to my second one: always being open to making new friends and memories.
Right.
You have a good foundation, so making sure that, you know, you're always nice and outgoing and, you know, aware of those people that do need your help.
Right.
You know, making sure that that option of K, that 4% that was in that meeting I was in, you know, we want that percentage to get bigger.
Right.
You know, so relationships is very important.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with you and me, you know, we've built a relationship over our interviews,
Yeah.
along with you being, you know, have built your relationships with your family.
Yeah.
It's important to build relationships with those that you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you, like you said, you have your close friend group, and you guys branch out and make friends. But let's see how much bigger we can make that.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So a lot of the times people hang out with people that are similar to them. Like, you play sports, I play sports.
Right.
So we would get along.
Yeah.
Right? But see if there's, you know, there's people out there that don't play sports, you know?
Yeah.
Like, not just in the neighborhood, but in school, at church. You know,
Yeah.
just because they're in a good,
Yep.
you know, setting doesn't mean that they always have everything together.
Right.
So, like I said, being open to making new friends and memories with those people. Leads me to number 3. Keep that close family relationship that you have with, you know, with your family, you know, as you guys grow together. And when you have kids, I know that you mentioned, you know, 3 and 4 that we came up with,
Mm-hmm.
that you want your relationship with your family to manifest into the relationship that you have with your wife and your kids. You want
Right.
to have that same foundation,
Yeah.
because you've grown up well.
Right.
And the things that you can teach them, make sure you teach them well.
Right.
Because say that, you know, your kids have friends that struggle with something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, having those relationships with your kids, they build off of what you have, the foundation that you show.
Mm-hmm.
So having that, you know, can infect people in a positive way.
Right.
So I know that you said you raise your kids the way that you've been raised, which I think is very important.
Yeah.
Which leads me to my last point. Number 4. It says live in the present, and have a good time in the here and now.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, we can always think about helping those
Mm-hmm.
that need help. We can always think about how much better our relationships can get, right? But let's live here. Let's, you know, this relationship that we've built,
Yeah.
you know, let's you know, settle in right here, and let's make it the best that we can now, because maybe down the road I have an issue, right? And I know that I've made a good enough connection with you to reach out with you.
Yeah.
So making that connection now, so you never know how it will, you know, help or hurt somebody.
Right.
That's why you always need to be nice and always build, and, you know, always get to know that person better and build relationships, not only in your family but to the world.
Right.
So, it was good meeting with you again.
Of course.
So, thank you.
Of course.
Any thoughts you have? Any questions? Anything you want to say?
No, I think you summed up everything great. I'm just glad that you chose me. You know, I'm glad that I'm able to, you know, have someone. Yeah, and I know I have other people, but I know I have that, you know, third option. I have that second option. I have that, you know, backup plan. If I ever need someone to talk to right now and no one can listen, I know I can always text you.
Mm-hmm.
I can always shoot you a text and see if you want to go grab a snack or something. I know that, you know, at the end of the day, I still have someone that I can come talk to, you know.
Good. And that's what it's about, man. Just, you know, having those role models as facilitators and those friends that you can always count on. So, I'm glad you picked the topic, man.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
yep, I think this is the end for us.
Yeah.
So, yep, thank you again, man.
Of course.